Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Suleiman Rahim here. Okay, this is I think the third in the series on mathematics. Islam is mathematics, and mathematics is Islam. It should have mathematics really work. The mathematics, the devil gives two-dimensional mathematics. They don't see the universe three-dimensional, and so they have a lot of theories. They can only have theories because they can't see it in its completion. Its completion is three-dimensional. So they see a derivative of it, a reflection of it. Before I go into that, brothers and sisters, I'm going to give you the short version today because it's more. I have a presentation that goes more detail. I'm going to give you the short version, the basic, because I think if I give you the short version, then when I follow up, you have a better understanding of what I'm trying to tell you. So I'm going to give you the basic points. Before I do that, I'm going to give you, why is this necessary? Why do you need to know this? Because that's what it's all about. It's all about mathematics. And so Islam is mathematics, and mathematics Islam, it's all about mathematics. And our people are not thinking mathematically, not even two-dimensionally. You on that level not thinking mathematics. The devil's thinking mathematics on two-dimensional level, but you're not even thinking mathematics on that level. And so I'm telling you how the mathematics really work. Because you're the gods, or the angels, however you want to look at it, that made this universe as it is. Stars, constellations, galaxies. But I want to get to a major point, because that's what this is all about, getting you back home. And you can't go back home, like I said, you can't get home thorough knowledge of self. But thorough knowledge of self is mathematical. And that's why Mama said you will not return. You will not. He didn't say you might not. You will not return. Who's going to give you thorough knowledge of self? Farrakhan, that's philosophy stuff. If he say Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam, then thorough knowledge of self means you have to understand mathematical Islam. He's not teaching mathematics over there, and Sui's not teaching mathematics either. So let me give you a little taste. Well, it's more of a taste because it's fundamental. It's fundamental. Now I'm talking about neutrons, but before I do that, I'm going to do this. It's right here. Fundamental Principles of Islam. That's what they call it, right? And in the name of Allah, Mr. Mercy, Allah and Best Noah. This book, there's no doubt, is to guide those who keep their duty, who believe in the unseen. See, like the wind blowing. You don't see it, but you believe it. Why? Because the reaction. But you have to believe in the unseen. What do you mean unseen meaning? The angels? That's not what they're talking about. I'm going to show you what they're talking about in a minute. The mathematics. You can't see it, but you believe in it. And it goes further. And spin out what we have given them. Well, how do you know what's given you? And it says just spin out of that. So, because you understand what this means. Students don't know what it means either. So, how can you know what was given you? Well, that's unseen, ain't it? How do you know it's given to you? Spin out what we have given to you. What are they giving to us? How do you know what that is? It's unseen, so you have to believe in what they're giving you. So you got to add these things together. I know you're not doing that. You got to put these things together. What they give you can't see it, but you have to believe it. And you only spin at that range. That's the mathematics of it. So let me explain to you. We're in a pressure environment. In pressure environment, they tell you there's no such thing as net force. What it means is that the force at every point is equal. And if it's not equal, you get a current to adjust it. That's where you have a current. If you see a glass and the water is moving, that means a current. That means it's not a point. Every point is not equal. So if one point is more than another, you get a current that flows from here to that until it's equal. Then all of a sudden, you see the water in the glass is still standing still, not moving anything. That means every point is equal. Pressure is equal at every point. But some happen to disturb that, and it's off. One point I said 1 point is 10, 1 point is 9. You get a current from the 10 to 9 to both of them equal, maybe 9.5, and that's where everything else is, and then you don't have a current. That's what currents are. An adjustment. Right? Because that's what pressure field, everything has to be equal at every point. That means the force is equal. It says mass times acceleration equals force. So it just depends on how fast, acceleration, how fast you're moving, basically. It just depends on how much mass you have. So if your mass is 12, and the force is 12, your mass is 12, then your movement is only 1. If your mass is 1, your movement is 12. Your mass is 3, your movement is 4. If your mass is 4, it is 3. That's just the way it is. That's mathematics that even the devil understands that one. Okay? So the point, everybody has the same amount of force means everybody has the same amount of energy. Everybody has the same amount of energy. The problem is, who controls that energy? And before you become a god, and before you can start an end, before you get out of here, you have to get control of that energy. And that's what Elijah Muhammad tried to break you up out of that. He says, why are you taking this from the devil when you can do it for yourself? Do it for self. Why are you taking this energy and let the devil control it for you? Why are you letting him control where you live? He used to say, welfare is going to say farewell. That's one of the things you say. Welfare is going to say farewell. Because he's telling you. He said, you depend on welfare. After a while, the devil's going to stop giving you that. And if you don't know what to do, then when you're going to go begging, you know, when they so-called Civil War, right? And you know, you weren't supposed to be a slave anymore. You were still a slave. If you employ, you're a slave. And so people left the plantation, right? Oh, wait, we free. We ain't got to deal with family. But a lot of people ran right back. Oh, master, can I? And so they put themselves back in that same situation they was in willingly. And they wanted to get out of it willingly. Because they didn't know that they could control their own energy. That they could manage, they didn't know that. Where am I get my food from? Where am I get my clothes from? See? And some of them left, didn't, you know, maybe they learned or whatever, but run back there, on the plantation back there, it's called sharecroppers. Because you get everybody the same amount of energy. Universe supplies is momentous in heaven and earth to come over sudden. That's everybody gets the same amount of energy. It depends on what you do with that energy. So if you put it in dollar amount, say everybody gets $1,000 a day. Right? Okay. Now what you do with that? You don't have to do anything with it. So it don't take form. You have to give it form. You give it form. And since it's coming from you, your nature, you can give it the form that you want to give it. Makes you happy. See? Because, you know, if you like chocolate cake, you're going to buy chocolate cake. If you like vanilla fudge ice cream, you're going to buy vanilla fudge. Cause, right? But if you let somebody trick you, right, and say, hey, I'll give you $1,000 a day. Right? So now you got to take the way they give it to you. Okay, and we give you, you know, they give you the form they give you. That's what welfare and taxation is all about. Because they're controlling the quality of, and then you complain about what you're going through with them. Because all they're doing is just, you giving them control of yourself, of your energy. And I understood that even before I got to the angel. Elijah Muhammad taught that, do for self. He didn't tell it like I'm telling you. But I'm telling you the math of it. Okay? I went through all that. I went through all kinds of situations where that's, you know, I figured out. I'm not depending on anybody for anything. It took a long time for my wife to get used to that. I don't put anybody to bullshit. That's why once I really understood it really well, I wouldn't buy a house anymore because I get a mortgage and they're going to tell me how much I got to pay and then I got to stay here and I got to go all this bullshit they put away. I said no. If I don't like here, I just go someplace else. My wife used to worry about that. Oh man, we're leaving here, man. We might not find something else nice. She used to get, yeah, you know. I know. In fact, when we came here, oh man, we gotta. Right, said, man, we got to go and find made it, you know, and plus, you know, I'm retired, you know, so I got a pension. That's not somebody give me something. That's something I pay for. So I said, well, you ain't better get a credit. Where's my assets? I said, don't worry about all that. I said, don't worry about that. Right? So, because we don't make enough money and everything to. I said, don't worry about that. I told her, don't worry. And so she went out to go to the store, and she came back 2 hours later and said, hey, man, I found this place. I said, what are you doing? Oh, I checked it. I saw I was driving this place. I checked it. And that's nice. I said, okay. Went over there. Boom. And it was much nicer. And she loved it. Because I said, man, put the crap, these people over here, they give me some crap and we ain't putting them with it. See? And it's a nicer place and everything. And well, yeah, it's going to cost much money. I said, but you stop worrying about that stuff. And 2 days later, I go out. A day or 2 days later, right, I go out, see one of my clients, right, and this fool runs through a red light. Tows my car. Because in fact, the car I had, right, I get a car every 3 years, but this one, after something happened, where somebody's keyed somebody keyed one thing at the gym because they don't like me. They keyed my car really bad one day, right? And then plus, I had run over something and was at a sound. And I had about I used to get, you know, checked every 3 years. I get at least a new car. I said, oh man, right? And so, boom, they towed the car, right? And I'm good. Had a big settlement, and got a brand new car, and I gave all the money. I said, don't worry about that. I said, that's what the devil wants you to do. That's how they're controlling you right now. That's how they're controlling our people. With this American dream stuff, telling you, oh, you got to get the money from us. Because when I stopped working, she got nervous about that. I said, don't you worry about that. She won't do it anymore now. She stopped. She finally stopped. And she did very comfortably. She'd always go on this place and on vacations and all kinds of stuff she'd be doing. I don't know how much money you got, because I give her all the money, she handles it. She handles the finance and everything. I keep telling her, you must got $1 million stored away someplace. I give her my money, and she's happy, and she does whatever she wants, and no money issues, whatever. Right? Like I said, and she still works. I said, why are you still? Well, I don't want to stay in the house. I said, you ain't doing it because you need money. I said, well, no. She just wanted to be. She wanted to sit around looking at me all day. But we're very comfortable. And we live a good life. And we're comfortable. And we don't put in any crap. If we bring crap, we go someplace else. Always better. Because I understand how it works. Nobody tells us we can't move here. You know, it's Section 8, you got to check this out. People come in inspecting all this bullshit. Because that's what you have to put up when somebody's controlling your energy. And they're controlling it because you let them do it. And that's what you got to break. That's what tribulation is about. That's why Master Muhammad, when he comes, that's the point. He's going to break that control, because crash the economy, so you can't depend on them anymore. Or some still going to try. You'll still run the master. In return to mass sheep, he's going to eat them. Yeah, I'm telling literally. Because he didn't have anything either. That's what you have to get home. That's why I said you have to spend our way of giving. So once you understand it, then you say, well, I get $1,000 a day. We don't go out and spend $1,200. Because now you got $200 worth of negative energy. I call it bad luck. That's why it tells you, you love those give good to others, right? Do good to others. Because here you get $1,000 a day, but you give 200 to somebody, now you got $200 worth of good luck. You manage that. You create your luck, bad luck or good luck. If you got bad luck, bad things happen to you, you controlling that. You causing that. You can look around and Jesus didn't do it. Nobody. You doing it. That's just the way it is. So I don't know if I can make it any clearer than that. So if you're out here and you letting the devil control you, because you're afraid and you think you're getting over, you ain't getting over it at all. Like playing the lottery. That's bad news. That's why the Quran says you shouldn't be doing it. It says some good in it, some bad in it, but there's some good in it if you can know how to control it. Most people don't. I don't know if you remember that. What was that brother's name? Was Shakespeare? When that big lottery about 15 years ago? But the big one. And once he got, all of a sudden he had all kinds of devil friends. Then he got his devil girlfriend. Know what happened to him? They killed him and buried him in the backyard. Took all the money. You get so much, that's what spin out what giving you. So you go give, if you help other people, that's energy you're giving it. Everything is worth something. Everything costs something. So if you help somebody, that's energy, right? And if they accept it, right? Now, you get $1,000 a day, but you give them $500. You got $500 worth of positive energy. So maybe you meet somebody that's going to be a benefit to your life, right? Or maybe you got a healing. Maybe you had a problem, and you can do nothing with it until you don't give it any form. Don't be stupid to have it sitting up in the bank now, and you sit around with diabetes and every damn thing else. But you don't give it any form, it's going to take a form you give it. So doing good to others, it means your people, right? So your heart cell, you give it to a lung cell, right? And lung cell, right? You giving lung cell blood, and lung cell giving you air. That's what it's talking about, giving you oxygen. So you helping them, and they're helping you, so you working together. That's what it's talking about there. That's a little more complicated. But it makes the body work. That's what happens. That's where your body works, right? Your lungs give your heart, doing good to your heart, right? Gives your heart air, oxygen, and your heart gives your lungs air. Blood. If you don't get that, if you can't get it here, you're going to have a hard time getting tribulation. Because a lot about the time they finally get it, it's going to be too late. Because it become hard, it's going to like a shock. What I do? What I'm going to do, man? I ain't got nothing, no food, no nothing, this. What I'm going to do? Run the master. He ain't got anything either. Hey, Joe, what's down here? Come over here, we got plenty of food. We're going to run over there and you the food. You think that's a joke? It's not a joke. That's why you go into to find out the power that you have in you. You have the power. You're God. You control your own energy. That's why you got to go tribulation. You got to come to grips, understand that for yourself in a real way. That you control, or otherwise you ain't going to make it. When you come out there, you realize you control your energy, then you're God, and nothing can harm you because you creating your environment around you. You got a force field around you. You create a force field around you that nothing can penetrate. It's either force field of negative energy or positive energy. So all kinds of bad things happen to you, right? Well, okay, You realize where it's coming from. You got to give it form. I'm 76 years old, right? I spend a lot of my energy at the gym. So he said, man, look, man, you in good shape, man. You know, and I was the personal trainer that he's not my personal trainer, but he's at the gym, and you know, I've been knowing him. I've been this particular gym about 7 years now, and he was telling me, right, man, boy, you look so buff and everything, man. You look better than me. I didn't wake up like that because I invested in keeping myself healthy. So I ain't on any medication because I invest on that. That's how I spend my energy. Okay. So it's up to you. If you don't understand that, you don't understand anything. That's what it is. But if you fear, you're afraid, that's the whole story about Peter. He was walking on the water with Jesus. He was doing fine until he looked around and saw he was walking on water. He saw Jesus get out of the boat and start walking, so he got him to start walking too. He wasn't paying attention where he was walking. Until he said, they're walking on water, poop sunk. That's what it's trying to tell you there. You don't need to get checks from the devil. You don't need to get anything from them. But they controlling you. I mean, you're still a slave to them. And so we got to break totally free by getting away from them altogether. Because we still got that symbiotic relationship between shit and gold. But if you don't understand, you don't understand anything. And I know most people, I don't think anybody understands that. But they didn't understand it. Elijah tried to teach him, and they fell into Farrakhan. Farrakhan not teaching them that. He said, no, we did. That's him and Fawaz first thing he said. We don't need to be doing that stuff. The devil's got it. So now you work for the devil and all that stuff. And I wasn't working for the devil. I was working with myself. I lived in a nation building complex. I was informed in Muhammad Street newspaper. My car was financed through the Nation Bank. Everything went, and it wasn't, everything went. I mean, I made my side, but I was doing well because Elijah Muhammad didn't charge you big bucks. He charged you because it was just stuff. He wouldn't make money off of you. When he left, he didn't leave here any money. Check out. Check how much he was worth when he left here. He wasn't worth anything because, I mean, he was worth a lot, but he wasn't worth, because he gave all the money to the Nation of Islam. That's what it belonged to. But see, Farrakhan put in his name, that's why he got that damn cancer. Because he's taking stuff that don't belong to him, so he put all that negative energy for himself. And at 55, think about that one. So if bad things happen to you, you can control your, you know, that's up to you. I can't make it any simpler than that, brothers and sisters. That's what it's all about. That's what you're going to tribulation for. And that's the test. That's the only way you're going to survive it. The only assist you're going to get, like I said, you're going to manna from heaven, so you need food. It said, Master from heaven will supply your food. Other than that, you're on your own. And you got to break that connection. That's what Pharaoh said. We ain't going nowhere. So that's the whole thing Ishmael saying. Where we gonna go? What are we gonna do? Him? You don't know about no mathematics. They say, well, God, everything is God will. Well, then why are you afraid? I fear nothing but Allah. Well, then why are you afraid to leave it then? Where we gonna go? What are we gonna do? I better stay with Master, because Master, you know, he got food for me. You got clothes for me. You got a job for me. Damn. That's the problem. Close out, brothers and sisters. Okay, a little longer than I intended to. I'm going to go through this. I can't make any clearer than that. You think you can something master you? If you get $1,000 a day, and Master give you $1,500, you think you get over? Then you got 500 years of bad luck, and then say, well, how's that showing up? What form is that taking? What form is that taking? And then when it comes to the relationship between man and woman, you sit down at the table, and this, you're at the table. I mean, it's really bad in some cases because the man ain't doing anything. So they should pray to master, because he not putting food on the table. She putting food on the table. He got her going to kiss master's ass to put food on the table that he's eating. He's just making babies that he's not feeding himself. And then he don't understand why he's not getting respect. Well, that's one case. Other case is, here you sitting here, and you go out there and work, right? We should work for the devil, and then you want to say, why you put food on it? You did put food on the table. At least you did that much, but still, you want to do for self. You want to build your own jobs and stuff. And so then when you get a table, thank you, Jesus, for our food. What? You put the goddamn food on the table. Well, Jesus put that food on the table. But where you see, but see, the point is, she know that food depends on that job. That you still a slave for master. You gotta stop that. Food I put on my table, I know it came from me. And somebody talking about Jesus or somebody else, and boo, every last meal you get from me. And I had that sense even before I met Elijah. I took care of myself, did for myself, because that's no story altogether. But then after Elijah departed, that's what I was doing. I was doing great. Two-dimensional world. I was doing great. Take care of business. I had no degree. I didn't even finish. I didn't even get through first year of high school. I had no degree. Yeah. And I'm living in a mini mansion. I started my own business. I went in there, got computers. Once I learned how to work, I said, I'm gonna keep working for these people. Good job. I started my own business. Oh man, you're gonna fail, man. You out there? And black folks wasn't doing that good in there, right? Because all the blacks I knew was employees. Oh man, you're gonna start your own business? Yeah, I started my own business. 83 when I came back from Chicago, New Jersey. I started right then. I went and worked for this consulting company because I want to see how it works. I was employed, then I worked for a consulting company, see how the consulting business worked. Once I figured out, then I went for myself. I got my own business, doing contract work. With a name like Raheem, and attitude like I'll put no shit with anybody, even then, right? And I made plenty of money. Then I was 2 years in. I came from Chicago with no money. I left there with I was in Mustang. I had to think about $300 in my pocket, something like that. I stayed with my uncle about a week. That's when I met my wife to be. Because she moved me over to New York to get that. Are you going there? I said, don't worry about it. I come here with nothing, don't worry about it. I said, even then she worried. I go, don't worry, I'm over there. Got it. I was my last employee. After I learned to start my business. Next thing I know, I'm living in a mini mansion. Barely cars, the whole 9 yards. People say, how do you do stuff like that? When I left Chicago, I had no prospects. I left. Because I knew even then, I knew the mathematics. I knew I had so much energy, I knew how pressure worked. So I knew no matter where I go, I'm still taking my energy with me. If I make $1,000 a day, I'm taking that with me. But once I give control to somebody, I have to do what they tell me to do. I'm taking my energy with me. It's portable. If I make it down now, get down now with David with energy, I'm taking with me. So I deviate. It's just going different form. I'm in New Jersey now, so I have to mold it to live in that situation. He said, "How you do it?" Yeah, like I said, when I left the military, looked for Elijah. I didn't worry about a damn thing. I didn't worry about anything. Everything worked out perfectly. Because even then, I hadn't known about Elijah anything. I understood how pressure worked. I know how energy worked. And so I don't have to be tied down to anybody. I just walked away. I was in Vietnam. That's my second tour there. I said, hey, I went looking for Elijah. I took a flight to Hawaii and kept going. I didn't hide. I didn't change my name or anything. I didn't have anything. I had no money saved up and nothing like that. In fact, I ran out of money when I was in Fillmore District in San Francisco. I was going to join the Black Panthers. That fell apart. And I was there and I ran out of money, I had nothing. Right, I went to sleep that night. And I remember this girlfriend I had, right? Her mother really liked me a lot. I cleaned her phone though while I was asleep. I called her, hey, send me money. Because I knew even then, you get so much energy. I understand physics works. And I take it with me as long as I control it. If I give this code to somebody else, then I have to do what they tell me to do. I'm tied down with them. Oh, I get a check every month, then I have to stay here in this state to get this check, don't I? See what I'm saying? Or I have to live in a certain place to keep getting that check. Or I got to do certain requirements to get that check. I said, hell with you. I'm gonna let you control my energy, then you tell me what I can do with it. You can only buy this food. You're going to live here. Because you don't understand. And don't tell me you understand anything about energy if that's the mindset you got. So let me go ahead and I think I'm going to hit this point one more time. That's what it's all about. Got to break free. You know how to start the path. Do it yourself. If I can reverse it. I don't work for anybody. Nobody tells me what to do. My wife don't need to work for anybody. She says she want to go and be, but she only work a couple days a week anyway. I told her, I said, why are you doing that, right? But she wants to be in, I guess she liked her friends or whoever she worked with. She don't need to do it. Don't need that money. On the weekends and hours. And nobody tells her what to do. Nobody better not tell her what to do. Nobody bothers her. She has a brand new car every 3 years. In fact, she got a better one than me this time. I got jealous, right? Right. So, but she got both of them got nice cars. But she got one more. Because she go back and forth. She drives to this job. So I said, okay, well, you get the big one this time. So she got the engine. I said, I bet you probably never go 40 miles an hour. That thing, boy, it's got a supercharged engine in it. Right? But I'm just going back and forth to the gym. So I could actually use a bicycle, tell you the truth. Right? But she's doing fine. She got everything she wants. She no problems and anything. She's very healthy. We go walking every weekend. And nobody tells her what to do. And nobody better not tell her what to do. Nobody, she's totally secure. That's what you got to come to. You got to come to there. And for some people, it's hard because, it's like going from the first floor to the second floor. You never been on the second floor? Well, it's going to be dark when you get up there. They're afraid of the dark. Why? Because you got to give it form. You got to turn the lights on and give it form. Or stay on the second floor. You go to the third floor, you got to, if you're in the first floor, you got form. That's the first dimension, right? Second dimension, right? You go to the second floor, right? You take your energy with you, but you don't have form up there on the second floor. So, oh, I ain't got no form, man. I ain't got nothing, man. I'm homeless and all this stuff, right? Well, because you ain't got to give it form. You got to give it form. You got energy form. You let the devil give it form for you. So if you're out here kissing the devil's ass and going, that means you letting the devil form your energy. That's yours. It's yours. But you giving it. And in a way, well, you tell me you ain't with Elijah. You ain't with the angel. You just a slave. Well, we all slaves over here anyway, as long as we stay here. But you ain't no man. And I'm not hard sisters on that. Because you put sisters in a hard bind. You give those baby, and then she can't go out, you know. And so she got to take care of the baby, or she concentrating on, she can't, you know. I mean, she can still do that, but it's still harder for her. Okay? And so now she got to run to, because she can't take a chance when that baby missing a meal or nothing, or anything. So she go ahead, give welfare or whatever, because she's trying to take, you know. So I'm not down any sisters because of that. But you're supposed to be handling that. The Quran tells you that, right? So then you force her to go ahead and do that. Force her to go out there, prostitutes and every damn thing else. Because you don't give them those babies, they got to take care of them. Now they can control the quality of it. They can do it, but it's harder for them. But they still do it. So I'm not a whole lot against them. They can still do it, but that's not their responsibility to do it. That's the point. You're supposed to take care of that part of it, so they can focus on taking care of the children. Okay. They go by the second floor. They can go by the second floor, but you put on the second floor and start giving quality that energy, so it becomes for them to take care of the babies. But they go up there by themselves. There's nothing there. And they still got these babies to take care of. These babies got to eat. They need things. That you're supposed to be up there ahead of them, giving that quality. But I don't know, if you don't understand, if you're two-dimensional, you're not going to understand this. If you're Calvin, you're not going to understand this. If you're hearing something master there, you're going to understand this. And you're going to have to break free of that. If you can, or you're going to die. That's what the engine is all about. And Master Rama's going to help you out. If you could be helped out by shutting this down where you can't, Section 8. There's none of that. Let me go quickly through this, brothers and sisters. And we're talking about neutrons. Now, I'm going to get a basic thing. Say this is a universe right here, this black thing here, right? Now, that says energy. Now, energy cannot be created or destroyed. Think about it. It cannot be created or destroyed. So how can that thing expand? Expand has to create more energy, right? See? Because they tell you, and the physics, the devils know that. You can't create energy, you can't destroy it. So how do it expand? The universe expands, so how does it expand if it can't create, it didn't create more energy? Because it changed the nature of it. See, it puts it in a state of tension, like a rubber band. It sit there. You can't create more rubber. Say you got a rubber band, you can't create, but you pull it, you didn't create more rubber, you just put tension in the rubber. It's still the same amount of rubber, but it's in a tense form. See, it's in a tense form. And that's what happens. So you put it and so what happens is the tense form, right? So the rubber band got longer, but there's no more rubber there, but it's in a tense form. Okay? Because you got force there. Well, that's the whole thing, converting centrifugal force into, I'm not going to go that kind of detail here. I'm going to get the basic, then I'm going to go into that later if you understand the basics. So here you go. See? Tension points. These are tension points. These are points of tension. Yeah. There's no more energy there. It's just this energy is in great tension. This energy is in great tension. You understand? So, and when that happens, those are called neutrons. That's how neutrons come existence. See, the thing is, the devils tell you, they say, neutrons, they say, they tell you, if you study it, they say neutrons just come out of nowhere. They tell you. They don't know when neutrons come, they just like pop out of nowhere like magic. See, because they don't understand how these things work. You ask them, look and see where neutrons come from. They say, oh, all of a sudden you look, they pop out, they pop up. Because the universe is expanding, that's how neutrons come in. Because expansion expands by creating neutrons, tension. So now the universe is in a state of tension. No more energy, just energy is in a state of tension. See, but they're all right next together, right? So if it expands more, then it doesn't create more tension. I mean, it keeps on expanding, it creates more and more tension to it. Can't, all the points of tension is maximum tension reach, it can't expand anymore. Because it's no place, all the tension is, all the neutrons it can create, so it can't expand anymore. So what happens then? Well, it causes the spin. Of course, those neutrons spin. When they spin, this is what happens. Okay? The neutrons start spinning. But see, they're apart right now because the spin pushes them apart from each other. Okay? Because the spin, the tension, right? See? So what happens is that because they're spinning, see, in other words, the universe didn't get any bigger. Is that they're moving away from each other. Because the spin creates torque, also creates a field that pushes them apart. Now, I'm gonna say it in that way. It's not really quite, but I'm gonna give it a general understanding. So that's why protons, they're a force between them. Okay? Because it's the spin, and that spin creates a spinning field around it, which pushes them apart. But the force that it takes to do that is the same amount of force when the neutrons are created, right? It takes a certain amount of force to create each neutron. So each neutron it takes 1 unit of force to create a neutron. So every 1 unit of force creates a neutron. So every neutron is worth one unit of force, right? Okay, but it takes 2 units of force. If you have 2 units of force, they spin. That's a proton. So it takes 2 units of force to produce a proton. That means that's the force between these two. Right? So it's 2 units of force between these two here. It's 2 units of force between the two. It's keeping them apart. Right? Because it takes 1 unit of force to create a neutron. It takes 2 units of force cause a spin. And when it spins, it pushes them apart. So that means each one is worth 2 units. If you understand that, I'm giving you basic. I got a presentation that explains in more detail. But I'm going to go into this. I'm trying to make it very simple. I'm going to give you just the basic right now. So what happens is this. Now spinning is torque. That's what electron is. Because anything that spins produces torque. Your torques will keep it bicycling, whatever. Right? And that's what an electron is. Electrons are spinning because neutrons don't have electrons. Only protons because they're spinning. And that's where they don't know what a proton looks like. They don't know an electron because they don't have any microscope that can see that deep in there. Plus, they don't emit light. They don't emit photons. That when you have to see photons, but these don't emit photons. So therefore, they can't see them. You can't see them, right? Because what you see is actually photons from an object. And these don't emit photons, so you can't see them. But they theorize what they look like. That's where you have a proton have an electron moving around like a moon around. It don't look like that. And that's the reason why you see each proton will have 1 electron. Because when you torque, only goes in one direction. That's another story. I'm just giving the basics. Right? That's an electron. That's what it actually looks. See, when you got a 3-dimensional mind, you don't need to see it. You don't need to see the wind, but you see the effect of it. So mathematics tell me how it looks. I can't see it with my eyes, but I can see it with my mind. That's the way actually a proton looks, and that's how an electron looks. Because each proton can have 2 electrons, right? So you only have 2 here because if one on top and one on the bottom. See? Here? See right here? You can have, that's why only protons only have 2 electrons because that's the way it looks like. So you put there, that covers it all together. Okay. That's the way it works. And you can figure out electricity and all this stuff based on this principle. I'm not going into that kind of detail here. Okay. So if you want to take and force these two together, that's fusion. That's something I'm maybe talking later, fusion. I'm just giving you a taste of it right now. So remember, they're forced apart. So remember, it takes two. The force that's holding up is, see, actually, it's not something that's pushing apart. It's actually being pulled apart. They think it's being protons push each other apart. No, they're being pulled apart. But that's a little more complicated. They actually pull apart rather than like your rubber band, right? You pull it, so they actually pull apart. But the force to pull apart is worth 2 units. Remember, a neutron is worth 1 unit. It takes 2 units to make a proton. So to be a part of that, that'd be 2 units because it's 2 of them there. It's 2 units there. It's 2 units of something pulling them apart. And remember, it takes 1 unit to make a neutron, because that's what you span the universe, creates a neutron, right? It's 1 unit. That's how much force it takes to create a neutron, right? Okay, you understand that? So you push these together, and you push these together, that means it's going to be a force of 2 trying to pull it back apart. Right? It takes a force of 2, right? It takes one force to make a neutron. It takes 2 force to make a proton. So the force between these two is 2 is 2. Force between these two is 2 because it takes 1 force to make a neutron, and for it to spin, it takes another. That's 2 forces. It takes a neutron. In other words, a proton is worth two forces. Neutron is worth 1 force. Force of 1. Proton is worth a force of 2. Right? So the force between these two is 2. Right? Understand that. So here it is. The force between these is 2. So if you push it together, you're going to have a pulling force to try to pull them back apart of 2. Okay? You try to put them together. You have a pulling force. Try to pull them. Now I have a presentation out there. Maybe I'll show it, explain this in more detail. So you got a pulling force of 2. It pushes them back together. Remember, somebody's trying to pull them up, and you got to force them together. That's why atoms are only made in stars, because it takes a extreme amount of force to push these things together, right? So you push them together. That's called fusion. Now you got a force that's pulling, right? But that force is 2. But that's the same force it takes to make 2 neutrons, and that's what happens if you pull it. That same tension forces 2 neutrons, and therefore now, once the neutrons come into existence, there's no force pull anymore because they represent the personification of that force. That's a helium atom. That's just the way it works. But I'm just getting the basics. Okay, just getting the basics. Now this is not approximate. This is exactly how it works. See? And that's what they look like. That's what a helium atom looks like. It's got 2 neutrons. They force together. The force it takes is 2 to put them together, and each neutron is worth 1. So 2 neutrons would neutralize that force if they come together right here. But because they're not exactly in the middle, they got something called a weak force. I'm not going to that. I'm just getting the basic. So I'm gonna leave it there, brothers and sisters. Right? That's exactly how it works. That's not. Now I dare any physicist and come and tell me that's wrong, because they don't see it that way. But it's mathematically correct, because they got an electron flying around like a moon. It's not that, because they don't know. They can't see it, because it doesn't emit photons. We'll talk about photons later. So therefore, they guessing how it looks. I told you exactly how it looks. If you could see it, that's how it looks. If you could see if you could see helium atom, that's exactly the way it would look. Man, it wouldn't have any color because there's no photons. So it wouldn't have any color. I'm giving you a color. It wouldn't have any color because it have photons have color. Okay. And that's where a proton looks. It spins. Right. It's how electron looks. Right. It's a hemisphere. proton looks. If they won't have a color, you can just doesn't emit photon. So it wouldn't have any color. They'd be all black. They wouldn't have any color, they don't emit photons. Let me show you so you can see. And the force between all of them is equal. This may not be a good graphic, but that's the way it works. So maybe, like I said, I'll plan on later, maybe tomorrow, whatever, maybe a couple of days, get you think about it, maybe go into a little more detail, or maybe just come back next week. I think the next one we'll do is gravity. The idea of gravity is wrong too. You have to know how the science really works, brothers and sisters. And I defy your gravity. I defy them to say this is wrong. They haven't said it's wrong. Yeah, in fact, I have a book out there on Amazon, but for years I haven't really checked lately. Right? Because this brother, he was a captain. I went over the Farrakhan's thing, right? He was a captain over there, and he was into Scientology and all that bullshit. I don't know about that stuff, right? He started getting irritated with me. Have you read Farrakhan talking about how what's the one you call it? Some kind of book he wrote. I can't think of the name of it. Again, I ain't read that stuff. They're talking about the Illuminati and all that stuff, right? So I guess he kind of sensed I wasn't down with Farrakhan, right? Because I was over to see what's going on. I was over there for a few months. So I told him about this book I had out there, and so he went and got the book. He went and bought the book. Then he got mad and turned the book back in with his refund. I said, okay, that's your loss, buddy. Oh, that's funny. That's so funny. That boy was stupid. Right? Anyway, I shouldn't get about $1,000 to say what I just showed you is wrong. Open, I got it on, yeah, you can sue me. If I show you what's wrong, right? $1,000. See, that's the way mathematics we work. Islam is mathematics, Islam. I'm gonna go through the whole series of gravity's next. I'm gonna get back into neutrons, protons, fusion, fission, right? How you make fusion bomb and fission bomb, those atomic bombs. It's in the lesson. Some of it's in the lesson, but you don't recognize it, right? And whole thing. So you have to have thorough knowledge. You have to know these things, but you have to understand pressure. Pressure is the nature of our existence. If you understand pressure and you really understand it, then now that's how our energy, with a pressure system, we get so much energy every day. Energy deprivation, energy decrease, so we have enough energy to manage after it. But now you do. So now you take control of it. And when you get home and hereafter, right, you're going to have to create your own paradise. Because when you get home, you think everybody's going to like chocolate cake and weed cake. Everything like, no, you have to where you want it. But you can't bring the devil with you. Control your energy, tell you how you do this, where you can do it. No. You got to do it yourself, and you got to go through tribulation to find. If you had listened to Elijah, you wouldn't have to go through that. But you fell under Farrakhan. So now you got to go and learn how to manage your own energy. If you're out there doing Section 8, well, then you ain't doing that. That means you're still the devil's puppy. I'll leave it like that. Assalamu alaikum. You gotta go